BRUCAST is back, baby.
And it's not like those brands and those movies and all those companies are trying to not trying to get you. They are. I just remember this this study that says that adolescents now last from 10 to 24 years old. So it doesn't stop when you are 18. It goes
Mhm.
until you're 24, which I mean, it makes sense. Uh, I mean, kind of makes sense, especially when you look at those pictures from your parents or your grandparents back in the day when they were 18. They already look like 30 and they had like 3 kids. Yeah.
When she was 18. And that photo, she doesn't look like she's 18. She's seen some stuff. Yeah. I mean, she was alive during the, World War II, stuff like that. So yeah, it left a mark on the people. But this is actually adolescence stops officially, I think now, as we understand it, is when our brain stops growing, essentially when our brain is fully developed, which now we understand is about the age 25. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, that's why there's a lot of potential to go wrong in your teenage years, with addiction, with everything, because your brain is still evolving, your brain is still growing, and essentially you're teaching it certain things that will be very difficult to unlearn once your brain stops growing. And so we just decided, okay, 18 is going to be a cutoff for when you are uh, an adult, when we consider you an adult. But now, most people, not everyone, but a lot of people go to university. So they are not self reliant. They don't have to find a job immediately
Yeah.
after ending high school. So there's a lot of these things that happen which enable you to kind of prolong your adolescence. And I think that's healthy because our life is longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like when you think about hobbits in the Lord of the Rings or and the Hobbit. So because they live to over 100 and something years old, that is their life. I forgot how long. Some nerd is gonna tell me how long that is, but I don't remember. They are only considered adult at age 30. Uh, Anything below that, they're still considered like a youngster, like an adolescence. And so now, as our lifespans are getting longer, and we are expected to work longer, and basically never retire, which is another problem. So our adolescence also becomes longer. And when our lifespans used to be shorter, and our quality of life wasn't so great, then of course you had to stop being acting like an adult as early as possible. Like as soon as you could help your community with, through work, through actual labor, you would have been put on some duty. And nowadays, we can afford to have a longer childhood and a longer adolescence. And I don't mind that because there's going to be decades where you're going to have to be a responsible person. So I think it's good that kids have that time to learn more about life and learn more about themselves. And the most important thing is to use it wisely when you have that time, because later when you start paying your own bills, you're not going to have the freedom and flexibility that you have when you are still a student and with not many worries on your brain. Even if those worries that you have seem like the biggest problems of the world, which again, I'm not judging. We've all been there. Uh, but I think there's that we kind of lessen the pressure on people to figure out what they want to do professionally as young as possible. I think that's positive because when I was like 15, 16, trying to think about what I'm going to do for a living, I had no idea. I knew what my options were, some of my options, but I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't know what I wanted to learn. I was kind of spread in all the different directions and I needed more time. I didn't have the time because everyone else expected me to figure things out by the time I'm 18 and to just go to university, graduate, go find a job. Like everything was just placed like an expectation in front of me and I was just not ready for that. I needed more time to just figure things out. And then I had to do that in my own free time while I was pretending to be studying. Essentially, I was a very bad student, and I was spending every free minute learning design, making art, playing with computer graphics, like making Photoshop collage and stuff like that. All the things that I found fun, and only later what did I realize, oh, I can actually do this. I can actually make a living doing this. And uh, I think it's good that we are allowing kids nowadays to have a bit more freedom, to experiment a bit more, to not think that, oh, if you don't start university immediately after high school, you're lost. No, you can go work for a couple of years and then go to university later. Like you can have a gap year. You can, like, all of these ideas that used to be so exotic. Now we are figuring out that, well, actually, it's good for people to try things out while they're younger, because it's going to be harder later when you have responsibilities, when you have a mortgage, when you have kids, when it's just, you will never have so many options as you do when you are young. If you have the support of your family, of course, that is maybe something that not everyone can take for granted. But it is something that I think the society is kind of figuring it out, that we actually have to give people more time, because then we're going to expect of them to be a productive member of society for the next 60 years or so. So
Hmm. Have you seen the Bee movie? It's a lot. It's all about that. Like the bees, they are born and they're expected to find their job as soon as possible, and that's it. Everyone's proud when you find your job. I mean, you don't even find your job. Your job is assigned to you, and you should be proud about it. And that's what you're gonna do for the rest of your life. And in the bee movie, one rebellious bee goes against the system, and it's like, hey guys, kind of don't know what I want to do. Why you're forcing like some random task for me into me? I don't want to do it, and I don't know what I want. So it tackles this problem that we're talking about, and I couldn't agree with you. It makes perfectly sense. What's the new average lifespan? It's like 70, 80, something like that. I think it varies on the country, of course.
country, yeah, I think Japanese have something like 84 or something, but I don't know what is for Europe and the Americas. I would have to check that. I never know, but it is growing. Yeah, you can check it right now.
Yeah, let's check it out. So the average lifespan of an European is 80 years, 80.1 years. During the last decade, life expectancy in the EU rose at a relatively consistent pace until 2019. So that's Europe. Let's see Japan. 84. Damn. I saw like there's a new study, a recent study saying that I think no, I'm sorry, it's not that new. You know what? I'm gonna check it out. I don't want to say bullshit. Water and lifespan. Adults who stay well, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is like when you live near to bodies of water and you see water, it's just so good for your mental health that extends your life expectancy. Not only that, people who lives outside of cities live in average 5 years more than those who live in big cities. So yeah, I think it makes totally sense that Japanese live more, especially because they eat so much more healthier than in the US. And I- you would you say that they eat even healthier than Europeans? I don't know. From
They eat a lot of fish. Fish is healthy. Yeah. I would say okay. Yeah, I mean I think they do eat more fish than red meats, which is something that doctors have been saying for a long time, that if you want to eat protein, that is healthier to eat fish than it is to eat red meat. So I guess Japanese have been doing that for a long time, and it I don't know what else they're doing. Maybe they also eat algae. I don't know.
Yeah.
People now algae are considered a superfood. I have no idea if there's any scientific backing to that, but they do eat and we don't really. So maybe we should start eating more algae.
Watch full episodes of the BRUCAST on the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/@brewfrasca.